All right, so the question this short video is attempting to answer is, how did the end of World War II set the stage for conflict in Vietnam? So let's hear.
We look at 2 September 1945, Ho Chi Minh in Hanoi Square, quoting American Declaration of Independence for the independence of his country. At the same time, in Tokyo Bay, General MacArthur is accepting the unconditional surrender of the Japanese Empire.
All right, we will get much more into this, but literally on the same day in September of 1945, Ho Chi Minh declares independence from France, or from any colonizing country for that matter. Again, September 2, 1945. All right, and in large part, as you will see, the document they used, their declaration, was very, very similar to ours. They thought of our declaration as inspiration for theirs. So on the same day, Ho Chi Minh in Vietnam declares independence, Japan surrenders to MacArthur in the Pacific Theater of World War II.
Two key events going on at the same day. The late president at that point in time, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, had been very much against colonialism, wanted to do away with colonialism in any way, shape, or form. Unfortunately, he died in April of 45.
So that's another very important event, all right? The death of FDR, who was extremely anti-colonial. All right, Truman did not feel as strongly as FDR did.
And Harry Truman becomes the president. Truman didn't necessarily carry on all the same thoughts that Roosevelt did. And in the post-World War II time period, we have countries who are devastated by the war trying to rebuild. The French are trying to rebuild, and they get their former colonies back, specifically Indochina.
And again, this is a sweeping overview of this here, but after the war was over, after Vietnam declares independence, France is allowed by other world powers, specifically the United States, to reoccupy or recolonize, reassert their control over French Indochina. All right. Remember, French Indochina. Indo means under, China means China. French Indochina is not a country. It's three countries: Laos, Vietnam, Cambodia.
And the problem for Vietnam was they're expecting independence, and instead they're put back under a colonial yoke. A conflict starts. The French have several 100,000 troops committed at that point in time.
So from 45 to 54, Vietnam fights a war with France to try and expel them from Vietnam. And again, this is a sweeping overview of this. We will go into much more detail.
Dien Bien Phu, a big battle.
All right, you may want to jot down Dien Bien Phu. It's a city. The Battle of Dien Bien Phu is the last battle where the French lost to the Vietnamese and left Vietnam.
The French lose that, they withdraw, but the leftover is that the United States is fully committed at that point in time.
All right, we will also go into this in more depth, but from 45 to 54, the United States was financing almost 100% of France's attempt to recolonize Vietnam. So we had a stake in this. So more or less kind of, again, we'll go into more detail, but we took over from France after they leave.
Vietnam is petitioned in 2 points, and it's part of the Cold War which results.
So in 54, Vietnam is split into two countries. It was one country, and the Geneva Accords, all right, they were meetings that took place in Geneva, Switzerland after the Battle of Dien Bien Phu. And what was discussed, what was going to happen with Vietnam. Ho Chi Minh was going to Geneva, fully expecting to get his independence. Think of it as at the end of the Revolutionary War, England surrendering, and then we go over to Europe to negotiate the treaty, and we come back with our country split in half. All right, only half has their independence, half does not. All right, that's kind of what happened to Vietnam. All right, we don't need more of this video. It's good for now.